Alright, so I'm going to do some mince and tatties today. Mince and potatoes in English. And all quite straightforward. There's a couple of wee techniques to it. I reckon that parts are not quite too big and too nice. Okay, we'll go. It's always better to go bigger. Okay. Mentioned it before, but I bought this. It's actually a pressure cooker. I was looking for a big pan one day. I was looking to buy a big pot for doing bigger quantities, and I bought this pressure cooker instead. But I don't really use it that often. I do from time to time. I don't use it that often as a pressure cooker, but just as a big pot, it's really useful. So it's got a double use, which is good. I remember when I was working in a restaurant one time. Have I told this story before? I might have. Can't remember. What I did was exactly that. So in the restaurant there's an even bigger pot, and I was making minced potatoes exactly the same. And I put oil in just like that, but the pot was really hot. I must have had the pan on the heat for a while. And what I did was really hot pan, put some oil in, put the beef in like that, and then I kind of went like that and I pulled it towards myself. And as I did that, you can see that, as I did that, the oil splashed up the inside and it hit the inside of my forearm. So as you do that, you pull the beef towards you, it sprays up, this burning hot oil sprayed the inside of my forearm, and it was covered in huge big blisters for days. And so you'd go around and I was freaking people out, you know, I was showing them this horrible kind of blister pattern. I always think about that. I mean, that would be 24 years ago or something like that happened, but I still remember it. And so all I'm going to use is onions, carrots and beef. That's the main ingredients. I'm going to put some parsley and some peas in it if I remember. Gravy browning, and I'm going to thicken it. So I'm going to thicken it and I'm going to colour it, because it's just better. We'll talk about that later. Carrots are always small. It's a bit more annoying to peel. So the trick I'm finding with doing nice mince and potatoes is to let it fry for as long as possible. The majority of the cooking is the frying. So I could do some. Put some carrots in with the potatoes as well, actually, that's a good idea. Just keep some to get away. And go Go fairly, go fairly small with these. You don't have to be too precise, just rough. Just roughly chop them. So I've got this on full heat. I'm going to keep just going to keep listening to it. And if it starts to catch, I'll turn it down. Just be careful if you're cutting the carrot through the length like that, it can slip. Get your fingers out of the way, kind of as soon as you can. I don't know the quantities, just, you know, whenever it looks like there's enough. Yeah, again, these onions are just a wee bit awkward. It's like there's one is not enough and two is too many. But I think we will go on the side of too many and have two, I think. Yeah, it's just that. The green bits are quite chewy, so you don't want them. Turn it down to 5, just so it doesn't catch. Fairly kind of small with the onions as well. I can hear that sizzling quite hard now. Turn it down to, we'll go down to 3 now. 3 of 6. Quite a lot of onions there, so it's just a wee bit, maybe too much, but yeah, that's good. Okay, so that's your main kind of work there, and you're in no hurry with that at all. The longer this fries, the better. As long as if it's the majority of the cooking is the frying. And that's what will develop the most flavour and it'll be the best. So I'm going to do some potatoes. Now normally, obviously you all kind of know that the likes of Maris Pipers are the best. What's that phrase they use? Powdery chalk. I can't remember, but they're not waxy. So the Maris Pipers, for example, are best for mash. I just happen to have these new potatoes, so I'm just going to use these. And I do prefer them mashed when I do have mince and potatoes. So I do want to mash these. These don't mash very well. You'll see what happens is they kind of get this kind of glossiness, and you can see this kind of waxiness when you come to mash them. It's not ideal, but again, we're just using what I've got. And what I can show you here is that you can make mashed potatoes out of these. I don't know if enough, but I thought I had a bit more than that. You can make mash out of these, but it's not the best. But so I'm just working with what I've got here. So. And I'm just leaving the skins on because I think. See, I'm funny about that. See, like potatoes with skin on, absolutely fine. Carrots, though. Time to roll these out. There's dampness in the bag. Carrots, though. In fact, I might just eat all of these. I'm just going to finish this off. Because I don't have anything else to have with those carrots. So what I'll do is I'll make some carrot sticks. Yeah, I'm funny about peeling things, so I basically almost never peel potatoes, but I always peel carrots. I kind of enjoy the potato peel. I think it adds to the mashed potatoes, but carrot peel, I don't know, I don't like it. It's kind of tough, and you get this chewiness to it, and it's not very nice. I don't really like carrot peel. A wee bit funny like that. This is a good peeler, this. Don't know where I got it from. Just be like a supermarket, something like that. But it's a good shape. So when you're boiling up your carrots and potatoes, the carrots take longer to cook than the potatoes. So just kind of bear that in mind when you're thinking about the sizes. So I'm going to cut these fairly thin. You can see kind of fairly thin in compared to the chunkiness of the potatoes, and they should cook roughly about the same time. See what happens, see I did that straight and they're circles, and I've got one on the floor and one of them's gone to the back there. And then you gotta waste time with that. But you cut them at an angle, See, they don't roll away. Just a wee trick there. Maybe a wee bit too much. Couple of carrot sticks instead. And you want to develop some colour at the bottom of the pan there, but you don't obviously want to burn it. So I've got that on 3 medium heat, and that's working nice. Hopefully it doesn't go too kind of soggy. With too many carrots it can go a wee bit sloppy, but hopefully we shall see. So salt, pinch of salt in there. So you want a fairly decent pinch of salt, but not too much. Kind of under season it, because we're going to put beef stock in, and hopefully I've got beef stock. Ah, do you? And browning. Plenty of pepper. Good couple of pinches of pepper. Lid on that. I really like my lid rack. Pleased with that. It's working really well. And what I'm going to do is, while I remember, because I always forget, see, it's getting quite dark now at the bottom. I'm almost ready to put some water into that. You can kind of smell it, it's kind of caramelising at the bottom a wee bit. In fact, what I'm going to do is put just a small amount of water into that. And that's just going to turn the heat up a wee bit, but that's just going to stop it catching too much. But I still want it to fry a wee bit longer. So it's just going to control it, stop it burning. But we're not quite ready for liquid yet. What was I going to remember? I always forget peas. Always forget peas. So what I'll do is I'll take them out. Good. Good big handful of peas, or just another portion of vegetables. You just use that wee touch of water that we put in to clean the bottom, deglaze it, and lift all those flavours up. So that's good. Right. Peas are there. What am I doing now? Spring onion. Yeah, I'll put all that through that's good, I'll use that up. So as well. I'll put the spring onion through the mashed potatoes, which which I think is an Irish thing to champ. A wee bit much, but I'll use this gear up. And again, I bought this tiny wee packet of parsley, but loads of parsley. I mean, you know, you could double or triple this amount of parsley and you'd still be fine. Don't skimp on the herbs. So that's pretty much it done. Just still needs to be assembled once it's cooked. Turn that on. Just gonna go slow. Just get a bit of flour and water ready as well. So some people will say to you that you shouldn't thicken the gravy because it's not traditional and all this. It's not proper. If it's thick, it's not proper. You kind of go through, it's just the same as when I did that burger. You go through these phases of doing thickened sauces and burgers with all these flavourings and things, and then you kind of start to become a purist and don't do that because you're not supposed to thicken, you're not supposed to put stuff through burgers and all this, it's supposed to be plain beef. But I've now come back round full circle to kind of, rather than doing what people are telling me I should be doing, and I do it the way I like it, and I don't care about, you know, whether it's purist or not or whatever, whether it's right to what somebody else thinks. I do it to the way I like it. The thing with thickening the gravy though is that I can show you actually when we come to do it. If you take a forkful of the mince and the gravy is really thin, the gravy will just fall down to the bottom. If you put the mashed potatoes and then the mince on top and the gravy is thin, it's going to soak into the potato. And if you take a mouthful of minced beef, it's not going to have any gravy on it because it's all going to have just fallen off. If you thicken it, the gravy is going to stick around the meat and the vegetables better, and therefore it's going to add more flavour to that mouthful, and so it's going to taste better. So for that reason I like to thicken the sauce. And I'm going to use gravy browning as well. I think it's just kind of molasses or something. It's some colouring, caramel, glucose syrup. You know, it's obviously not ideal, but when you see the difference in colour, it just makes it so much richer and darker and more appetising. Now, I need to boil a kettle here. Cup of tea as well, I think. So it's going to get noisy. Sorry. I've eaten a couple of times stuff that's had stock in it. Turn that down to 3. I'll wait for that kettle to boil before I tell you that story. Open cardboard. Stock cubes to put in. A nice colour. Just pick work that colour up. Do that again, you know, do that again, just brown it again, touch of water. Stops it, controls it, stops it burning. Really good. And that's all that flavour's been picked up and it's been added into the beef now. See these wee kind of flecks, that's all adding. I don't know how, I don't think it's actually that loud. What does it say for a quantity here? 1 cube equals 450 millilitres of stock. What's 450 millilitres? So 1 cube does all that. So I think 2 should be fine then, yeah. What I've had, 2 just doesn't seem it's going to be strong enough. It's like you want to add more to get strength of flavour and it's nice and rich. But then these are just salt, you know, I think the first ingredient in these is salt. Ingredients, salt, vegetable fat. So, you know, they're not good for you. So I'm actually going to, if you wanted a really rich one, just add a bit more stock, maybe put 3 in. But I'm just going to go 2. So what the reason I'm going to, you could just drop these straight in, but a couple of times I've eaten in like a restaurant, or no, maybe not. It's actually the canteen where I used to work, in an office that I used to work in. And what they'd done is they just dropped the bouillon cubes into the straight in, and they hadn't dissolved properly. And if you're eating, especially something like minced beef with which is brown, and if you get a wee spoonful, if you were to pick up a spoonful of this, and it had a wee lump of that stock in it, like that, it is horrible. It is absolutely disgusting because it's just pure concentrated salt. So I've had that a couple of times, and you only need to have it once, and you just think, do you know what, whenever I cook this I'm going to dissolve it like this. I'm going to make sure it's dissolved, because it does take a wee second to dissolve it. You know, I mean, I've given that a good whisk and there's still decent lumps in it, so that's boiling now, so turn that down to 1. So yeah, always take the time to dissolve your stock cube. And I mean, I'm using a stock cube here, it's absolutely fine. It's just pure salt though, that's the problem. That's why I went easy on the salt that I put in. I mean, I'm not making beef stock from scratch, I've not really got time for that. So what you do is just do that. So I think we're a bit ready for liquid now, so that's had a good session of frying. Everything's softened down now, it's good. So what I'll do is I'll just whisk that and let it settle. I'm going to be careful. I'm going to pour it in, and you can see there's lumps in the bottom of that, so I don't want any of them to go in. So we'll just add a wee bit more hot water. Just got to watch you don't put too much liquid in. And give that another wee whisk. It's just important because you just do not want a lump of undissolved stock cube in your mouth. It's rotten. Yep, there's a couple of wee dots there, but that's okay. Okay, so don't put too much liquid into it. Yeah, I think 2 should be fine. So you can see there that some people would say, oh, this is it, done, you know, this is the right way that it should be. But I'm going to thicken it and colour it as well. Wow, yeah, definitely 2 is enough. In fact, if anything, 2 is too much. But that'll be good. That'll richen up. So it's already very rich, so that'll just mature nicely. Time for a teaspoon. So what am I going to do now? I kind of just want to leave this to simmer for a wee bit, just until the potatoes cook, which is only going to take about 5-10 minutes. And I think we'll come back and finish it off. So I'll maybe just I'll turn that down to 1. So I'll stick a lid on this. And I'll come back to this when the potatoes are cooked, and then everything's going to happen at once. Everything's going to get all done at once. So yeah, let's look at the clock. It's only going to take 5 minutes or so, but I will come back to you in 5 minutes. I didn't look, I can't remember what the time was at the beginning. I think it's only about 5 minutes, but that should be done now. Those should be done. So turn that off. That's ready to be mashed. We'll chuck these. I'll put the peas in now. Yeah, let's put the peas in now so they get a wee bit of cooking time. Oh, smells good. That'll cool things down a wee bit. So you know, there's not much cooking time involved after the frying. So I'll turn that up to kind of medium. And we'll do the potatoes. Leave them. Potatoes, I will put in some butter. Oh my goodness, see, this is this funny size of block. Well, I know I won't. I'll be good. Tempted to put a lot in, but I won't. Let's try and err on the side of slightly healthier. I think a wee bit of nutmeg is good as well. My nutmegs, oh, there's that. Really good, it smells really good. A touch of extra salt. A wee bit of pepper. Turn that down a wee bit. And you know, just fairly rough, you don't have to be too particular. A few lumps are good. Just a wee bit of crushed veg. And you don't want to do it too much because these potatoes are not really designed for mashing. If you go too much, they go a bit gluey, and the waxiness kind of has an effect, you know, and it's not ideal. But so just kind of under mash them if anything. But you can, if you've got Maris Pipers, or you've got the ones that are designed for mash, you know, the ones that are proper mashed potato ones, then you can mash them a bit more and it's okay. Shouldn't have poured that water away, I should have left it. Quite a lot of spring onion actually. It's maybe a wee bit too much spring onion, but and they're a wee bit big as well, but I'll be alright. So you have your parsley and your spring onion, which are not cooked, so again nutritionally should be good for you. And that's you there, a nice wee bit of just taking, you know, mashed potatoes, using what I've got, these new potatoes, and then just enhancing it with nice flavours from the butter and the nutmeg, and vegetables with the carrots, spring onions and herbs as well. So that should be really good. That's really good. I'm tempted to put more salt in it, but I am not going to. I'm going to err on the side of healthiness. So to thicken it, just a wee touch of flour and water. That's just plain flour. Once we get all the whisk all the lumps out. And what I like to do is kind of push the meat over to the side, and so you've just got the liquid down at the bottom there, and so you want to just pour that in, pour a measure of that in, and then give it a whisk. So maybe a wee bit much, but and give it a mix through. You can see how thick that's gone there with just that wee bit. Oh, I should have showed you the before and the after, I forgot about that. And you can see that colour, even, you know, it was kind of greyish, didn't look very good, and then I added in that flour and it's gone even lighter, so it's kind of going the wrong way. But what you can see is when you take a mouthful of that now, you can kind of see all the sauce sticking around it, and that's what you want, because you just get more flavour from it like that, you know, it's just better. So texture wise, that's really good. A wee touch of the gravy browning in it. Don't need much, just a, oops, a wee bit too much. I was going to say just a few drips and end up putting a big load in. Maybe a wee bit too much, I put a wee bit too much, but it's okay. You can see it just transforms it into something that's a bit peely-wily looking, into something that's, you know, nice and shiny and rich, and it just looks way better, you know what I mean. Crank that temperature up, make sure these new ingredients get kind of boiled into it, and I think that just looks, you know, I think it just looks a lot more appealing. I think that's thick enough, so that will show. It's a wee bit of wasted flour there. Okay. I like to get, when I do that, I like to kind of get the worst bits off and then put it through the dishwasher. Otherwise it kind of, same with the whisk. Otherwise it goes really hard and even the dishwasher doesn't take it off. Just while that mince is having its last wee just finishing off cooking, can have a clear up. Again, because you're clearing things up soon after they've been used, it's all dead easy, quick. This it's easier to lift it with a metal spoon, you know, to serve it. This wooden spoon did touch the raw meat, so we'll just use a different spoon. I can turn that off now. Done. I'll just use this spoon. So, a wee bit of mash. Again, as I say, Maris Piper would be better, but just using what I've got. And you can do mashed potatoes from those wee new potatoes, it does work. Not as good, but it does work. Dollop of that. Oh, sweet, that's nice. Just caught a wee bit in the bottom there, but that's okay. Got it just in time. You can kind of see there that the sauce is sticking to the meat, and it's not just disappearing into the mash. You know, so I do prefer the thicker option. I do prefer thickening it. I think it does enhance. I think it does make it better. Touch more. So that's you there. So that's your. Put these in containers. They'll go in the fridge, and they will. They'll sit in the fridge for a couple of days, and I'll just microwave it. What I'll do is take the mash out and microwave the mash, and then just heat a few spoonfuls of the mince up in a pan. But yeah, so that's classic kind of traditional Scottish mince and potatoes done.